One of boxing's most dominant heavyweight champions of all time. They call him Dr. Steelhammer. Please welcome Wladimir Klitschko.
Good to be here. Thank you, Kristine, for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So right off the bat, you have one of the most dominant careers in boxing history with a 64-5 record. But I think that one of the fights, or if not the fight that people remember you for most, was your fight against Anthony Joshua. You fought that one out all the way to almost the end. And he spoke so highly about you after that fight too. What did you learn about yourself?
I've learned about myself a lot in this failed fight. And I was really obsessed about the goal to get the belts back into my hands. I didn't accomplish it. And there was something that I never thought of, winning while you're losing. So I won plenty of fights before and titles, unified them and all of this, but I never faced something that audience, fans will accept you lost and actually raise your hand without raising the hand, like literally in the ring. But that's the feeling I had. It was a great night. Fans had fun. Anthony and we had fun. I didn't make it with winning the titles, but I'm really glad that you'll be surprised probably, but I'm glad that it went the way it went. I didn't win. It was a great lesson to me. Great lesson to know that failure with obsession is an option. I said I was obsessed about winning the fight, and I failed. And I learned that failure with obsession is an option.
When you said you were almost happy with the way that it ended, that your career ended with a loss because you felt like you were passing the torch in a way, is that right?
Well, I was not happy. I'll be honest, my ego was wrinkled, so to say. But on the other hand, I have learned a lot about myself, about my fans, about Anthony Joshua's fans, and it's just something that I think like complete story for a fighter that have been involved for like 27 years. And that's what my experience was in boxing. And at the end, just to know that, as I mentioned before, actually winning while you're losing is something incredible to me. And I think if I could change it, I wouldn't. So I just will leave the way it is. And yes, my heart and my soul are in peace. Passing the torch to Anthony Joshua. I'm his fan, always been. Since he was my sparring partner after Olympic Games 2012 in London. We sparred, we communicated, we became friends. And since that moment, I became a fan of his talent. And I think he's a tremendously talented guy. And the more I always said, the more he shines, the more I shine.
That's got to be so hard, the fact that you guys were sparring partners, you have a lot of respect for him, you call each other friends, and then you get into the ring and you know you're going to punch each other. How do you switch your mind into looking at him as the enemy?
Kristine, it's not politics, it's sport. Sport has rules. So according to the rules, not someone who's going to win with the talk before the press conference, but someone who's really let the hands talk. And that's the way we communicate in boxing ring. So one gentleman that is going to talk more with his hands, obviously, or probably going to win the fight. And the one that is more silent with his hands is going to lose.
So you get caught with an uppercut in the 11th round, and I watched your face as you go down. And do you remember the thoughts that were going through your mind, if there were any, or if you could really kind of go back to that moment at all?
It's interesting that you're asking me that question.
Okay.
I just want to say that, obviously, when you're in a fighting mood, you give everything. Even if when you're hurt, you just want to give everything. And when the ref waved off, so the fight was over, I was standing on my feet.
You did.
I was not laying on my back and was counted out. And to finish career like that, not on your back, is good to me. So I'm glad that it was not floored flat, that I was standing on my feet. That's actually what was important to me, because we as athletes, we have huge ego,
Yeah, but you have to.
And I accept it, because I've been flooring guys many times in my career, and eventually, it's like in chess. To see what he sees, sit where he sits. So same combination, but different look, different angle, looks totally different. So I've been in the situation on the top of the game, but also to know the other side. I think for experience, life experience, it's pretty good. That actually really helped me in the future, to be honest with you. And we'll talk about it more.
We will talk about that more. But we'll always have that image of you getting back up, and you did end your career on your feet. What moment are you most proud of, or what are you most proud of in general from your career?
I'm not proud of myself. I'm not. Because if I would be proud of myself, my attitude is a little bit different. I never took a look at my legacy. People were asking me while I was an athlete, so what is about your legacy? Do you care about it? I don't care about my legacy, I said.
What?
Because it's destructive. Why should I think about my legacy now while I'm active? I just need to get my goals done. I just need to win my fights. And then later on, I will look back. So now, this later on eventually happened. So now I'm like a year retired from the sport, not from the life. Now I have a chance to look back. And I look at it, and I'm like, 12 years as a champion combined, pretty damn cool. So good job, Vlad. So what's next? I'm sorry, but I'm like saying to myself, what's next? I feel that I'm young still. Actually, I stuck at 27. And then I want to achieve more. There's so much to do in life, because now I'm stepping out of this box that I used to sit for so many years as an athlete, because an athlete, you have to always be disciplined. You always need to understand you're mentally and physically at 11 o'clock on Saturday night, just you have to be 100%. And just not to have that and step out of this box, suddenly I just see life is much more fun and colorful, and there's so much to do, and it's like you're in a candy store. There's so much variety of trying different things, and I definitely enjoy this time. I love where I'm at. I love what I do.
You're retired, but what would have to happen for you to fight one more time?
It must be something extraordinary, incredible. I still got it. I don't know for how long I'm going to remain in the same shape, but if I'll become a 45-year-old, a 46-year-old, and if I still got it, and if I will have sparks in my stomach, I would think that this extraordinary moment could be to break the record and become the oldest heavyweight champion after. I mean, obviously now is the only one guy, George Foreman.
Right.
But then I might think about it.
Is there a person that would draw you out of retirement, or would make that fight a little more enticing?
No. The worst and the best and the strongest and the weakest opponent is me. It's all about me, ego. I have a big ego, such a big ego.